Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.
Live from the GBM studios in Belize City, it's Open Your Eyes. Start your morning right with your hosts, Sabrina Daly and Paul Lopez.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Paul Lopez.
And I'm Sabrina Daly.
And good morning to you all that are out there tuned in. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. It's a pleasure to be in your homes. It's a pleasure to be on your device and wherever you are. I do hope that you are having a blessed morning. It is Thursday, April 9th. We are on our way to Christmas. That's what a lot of people are thinking, but we just got over the Easter holiday. Sabrina, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. I can't believe we're already at Thursday. It feels like the week has been zooming by. But I'm looking forward to the weekend. I know that a lot of us, we're still trying to recover from the extended weekend. I see you're a little bit toasty. I know I could finally see the sunburn come out.
Yeah, just the start come out. I surprised you already to look forward to the weekend, and we just get over a long weekend. So
no, I'm looking forward to it. This weekend's my birthday.
It is your birthday. All right.
Yeah.
How old are you going to be turning this year? I know they say it's not polite to ask a woman their age, but you're different.
You're not polite to me.
I'm not being polite to you. Are you? Well, let me ask you like this: are you still on the calendar? Are you kind of inching away?
I'm
from
inching
the
away from the calendar for sure, but I embrace it. I am excited about whatever the new year has in store for me. I'm not one to really kind of get scared about the idea of aging, but I will still keep it to myself. It's my little day. But I'm excited about it.
Well, happy birthday in advance.
Thanks.
Life is so short. 30, 40, 50, 60, and the time just goes by so quickly. So enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
I think that's all we can do.
Well, what you got for us in terms of conversations?
So in terms of conversations, here's our show lineup for this morning. In our first conversation, it's all about the National AIDS Commission and their 2026 vision, as they'll also be here to speak a bit about STI awareness. In our second conversation, it's all about celebrating music and milestones with Hamalali, Wanigu.
Yeah.
Right? Based on quick research, it seems to translate into the voices of our people, right? But we'll get that translation for sure when they come on. And then our third conversation is all about making a splash with YWCA swimming classes. And of course, we'll be joined on that segment with Davia Richardson, a competitive swimmer representing Belize across the world. And she's here in Belize with her family, her coach, her sports psychologist as well. So they'll all be on set.
Yeah, I know that she joined us, I want to say earlier this year virtually. So you guys are familiar with her, but you'll be seeing her in person now as she is here in Belize. But let's also move into some of the things that we think you should know before you leave your homes this morning. Some trending topics either on the news or on social media, starting off with Trinidad and Tobago demands CARICOM meeting to challenge Belize Secretary General reappointment. Also, first ever CCJ referral comes from Belize. Two men charged in murder of Corozal resident Amaldo Veos. $1.6 million drug bust in Ladyville. This is a crazy news coming out of the Belize district. And then finally, the Ministry of Health and Wellness warning of measles outbreak in Central America.
Yeah.
Perhaps we could begin with the drug bust in Ladyville, Paul. I think that took a lot of people by surprise. Just the sizable amount. I think it was like 29 bags of marijuana amounting to over 1,000 pounds, I believe, as well. Now, the 1.6 value is actually street value. And I believe that they do have a suspect in mind. So I don't know how the street value part works. Well, I see you smiling.
I don't want to. I just want to know why you say street value versus store value.
I read that. I read that, pal. You can't tell away word on the streets.
Yeah. So,
but that's a lot. That's a lot. And you know, one of the conversations that we've been having, you know, both here at work and privately as well, is the crime situation that we are now observing in Ladyville as well. And for a lot of them, they've also expressed that it's been linked to drugs. And so this haul, I think, is a step in a direction of probably cracking down on that. But for me, it's scary, and maybe I'm naive, but it also tells me, wow, there are certain pockets in the country that has this amount of drugs as well. That's concerning.
Yeah, there's a few things I think about it. The first one is I looked at the public reaction to the bust, and I think about the cynicism among the public, even the skepticism among the public as to what will become of the drugs. And I'm not imputing improper motives or suggesting that anything will disappear, but a lot of the commentary is along that line. People are questioning if the drugs will remain in evidence, if because of the volume of it, some of it will disappear. And I just think it goes to show as a society where we are in terms of, a bit in terms of the confidence we have in the police, that we quickly think about it in that manner, that, you know what, some might go missing. And so perhaps it shows that there's still a level of deteriorated confidence and it's still a level of deteriorated trust. But it's not to say that that will be the case. These are only people's opinions. But I find that very interesting.
I also think about the source of it too, though. I mean, that had to come from somewhere.
Of course. It has to come from somewhere. I think that's a good point, and perhaps you can elaborate on why your thoughts are going in that direction. For me, I also consider the major implications for the sort of rivalry in the streets, right? Because a lot of it stems from drugs.
As I mentioned,
And so for the police to make such a huge bust, it means removing a large quantity of an item that is the source of a lot of the wars, the gang crimes, and these sort of criminal activities and feuds. So one would hope that with the removal of this large quantity of marijuana from the streets, that it would then lead to that. There are questions, though, about whether it would lead to some sort of retaliation in terms of, all right, who snitched? Who gave police the information? Because based on what police said yesterday, this was based on intelligence, right? But one would hope it would take the positive effect, which is decreased tension and feud over drugs because of how much was removed. But it also shows me that there is rather huge potential, if you would, financially, for the legalized trade of marijuana. Think about it, believe it or not. $1.6 million worth of
right in that room.
Right, what Dickie Bradley would call the good stuff, just stashed away in that room like that, and that's just a small quantity in comparison to, let's say, a larger space, right, or more venues that could hold much more. And so one can make an argument, those who are proponents of the legalization of marijuana, that if such a haul could generate $1.6 million in the streets, then imagine what a legalized marijuana industry could generate with the taxes and the revenues for government, etc. So those are some of the angles I look at it from. The last one, perhaps a bit more controversial. But yeah, those are the things I consider.
Yeah. And I think they're all fair. I go back to one of the points that I raised, though, about the source of it, because oftentimes when we associate large quantities of drugs, we kind of think of the drug plane, right? When drug plane land, you know, that comes with the cocaine, but considered more larger quantities. And when I saw the amount of marijuana, I wondered, where would that have come from? You know, you don't often hear of drug planes with marijuana inside. At least I haven't really seen stories of that. And so I wonder if there are like people who have plantations with this, you know, or what does that process, that underground or underworld process look like as well? I think just the amount that was captured poses questions like that too.
Indeed.
All right, well, Paul, I think we should move things along, because another really interesting story that came out was the first ever CCJ referral from Belize. Now, I know that this is a story that you have been covering yesterday. You were able to sit down with Anwar Barrow. What's worthy of mentioning is that this is a CCJ case that was applied from the Financial Services Commission, but it involves Anwar Barrow, and he was stating his interest in the case yesterday in the news.
Indeed, and so to the aspect of the CCJ, right? There are questions in the case, the national case, the domestic case, which is Anwar Barrow versus the Financial Service Commission. There are questions about, and he outlined them. He said, let me just pull up quickly what he said. But in essence, he's challenging certain costs. He's making allegations of discriminatory business practices, and in part it has to do with how the FSC, based on how he explained it, with how the FSC deals with foreigners that are attempting or making an effort to do business either in Belize or with Belize businesses.
And this is a focus primarily on businesses.
Right, and so, well, if you're, so here, though he didn't say it explicitly, if you are thinking the Treaty of Chaguaramas, then you're thinking CARICOM nations, and you're also thinking CARICOM nationals, right? And so his exact thing was, he said, the case is primarily about three things. One is the fees that the company registry requires to be paid in US dollars as opposed to Belizean dollars, right? So he's saying, if I'm a Belizean, if I'm an established Belizean business and I'm an established Belizean businessman, and I'm seeking to engage in business with others from the region in this case, then why is it that I have to pay in US dollars? This has been a long-standing complaint from businesses. It's not the first time I'm hearing it come up, and in this case, you have to understand that the FSC primarily deals with international businesses, and they primarily deal with international engagement, right? The financial services in that international sector, like offshore banking. Yeah. They deal with things like digital currency, for example. We had the person from Finance Belize come on set and explain some of that. And so that's a part of his concern, a part of the challenge. And then also another part is certain fees that are applied to transactions of this nature, business to business business to business engagement, right? And then last but not least, like I mentioned, the third one has to do with the portion that's referred to the CCJ, right? And so it's a question about discrimination and alleged discrimination when CARICOM nationals in this case seek to do business here in Belize in terms of the fares charged, for example, or just the manner in which they're treated. And what you have to understand is that the CCJ, they have what you would refer to as oversight when it comes to the implementation of the treaty. So what the treaty is basically, the treaty is the document, the legal document upon which CARICOM is formed, right? And it's an agreement by all CARICOM nations that this is how we're going to engage in economic integration. This is how we're going to engage in foreign cooperation, in citizen security, in functional cooperation. This is how we're going to engage in it. And what Anwar argues, in essence, is that the alleged discrimination or the alleged discriminatory manner in which the FSC deals with foreign or CARICOM nationals goes against the Treaty of Sugar-Ramos, right? And as the oversight body for the application or implementation of this treaty, now a question is put before the CCJ for them to interpret, right? Interpret the treaty, and in terms of how, in the context of how it applies to Belize and how it applies to the FSC, but it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that to look at how it applies to other business practices from other businesses, not only in Belize, but across the region in terms of how they engage CARICOM nationals. Yeah. So there's a rippling effect.
Not even to Belize, but from Belize to other CARICOM nations
as well. Then from one other CARICOM nation to another CARICOM nation. So precedents can be set in a significant way, right, regionally, when the ruling or when the CCJ announces its interpretation of this matter. I liked what Mr. Barrows said yesterday, though, because this is the first time that the CCJ is getting an opportunity, if you would, to interpret something like this, for something to be referred from a nation. It begs the question as to whether or not we have been asking these sort of questions enough, as to whether or not we have been challenging these sort of things enough as a region. And this is the first time, and I like the fact that it's coming from Belize, right? It's showing that we have really strong legal-minded people that are thinking ahead and are putting these sort of challenges forward. My understanding is, and I gathered it from yesterday, that it's not Mr. Barrow that made the referral, right? So he brought the case in the local courts, but he didn't make the referral to the CCJ. I understand that it is FSC that requested that the CCJ interpret this question that was put before the court, the High Court that is in Belize, and of course the High Court would then make that referral to the CCJ. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because it could change a lot. Constitutionally, it could change a lot in terms of the policies, the regulation, the legal framework that FSC and many other businesses operate under.
All right. Well, Paul, I know that we are running a little bit out of time, but I think we still have an opportunity to touch on one more topic, especially since we're looking at regional situations. There is some type of tension taking place in the CARICOM region as well, where, for example, we know Trinidad and Tobago is challenging the Belize Secretary General reappointment. We know Dr. Carla Barnett, a Belizean, she has been reappointed as the Secretary General. But we've been reporting in our news as well for the past couple weeks some tensions coming out of that, springing primarily from Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, indeed. And it's I really, let me just say, I really commend this story that our colleague Shane William published last night, because it added various perspectives to it. And I like that we were able to get a statement from our foreign minister to the effect that we support Dr. Carla Barnett's reappointment. She was reappointed as the Secretary General for CARICOM in late March, and it came with controversy. Specifically, the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago's government raised hell about it, and in a sense
even cut back some of the support.
Right. So they're threatening to, and they're saying that unless their demands to a degree are met, that that their support will be withheld in terms of this issue. Now, I look at this issue And then I take a step back and look at the lot bigger picture, right? I think about the tensions that arose between CARICOM nations and Trinidad when Trinidad essentially welcomed the U.S. and its military forces into Caribbean waters, international waters to some degree, but even allowing them to dock near their shores, and how that left a great deal of uncertainty in the region, and how regional leaders were essentially shaking in their boots. We don't know what to do, and how Trinidad has strong ties now and increasingly with the U.S. And that, for me, in my view, created or built on the tension which we're now seeing. And then we kind of saw some of that further unfold in the recent CARICOM heads of government meeting. I don't know if you remember that one when Secretary of State Mark Kruger was there. I feel as if the president of Trinidad feels even more emboldened because of this partnership with the U.S. and having that backing and having that support, now to the point where we saw her speak she was very vocal, unapologetic about her stance on certain issues, especially regional security, at that meeting. And then now here we come again, them being very vocal. This time they're asserting that they were left out of the conversation and left and out of the decision-making process where the reappointment of Dr. Carla Barnett is concerned. And so they're demanding that a meeting with the foreign ministers from the region be held so that they could ventilate this issue. Listen, my thing is, and so these are the leaders. My thing is, Sabrina, we have work to do as a region. We have work to do in terms of economic transformation, in terms of economic integration. We have work to do in terms of food security. We have work to do in terms of logistics. Are we to ask for that we could able to ship things for year to year and one country to the next in the region? Do business without issues. All we're asking for is a direct flight from Belize to a Caribbean country. That would ask for. These are the things that people on the ground want. But I find that now more than ever, CARICOM leaders and heads of government are at front and center. They're getting a lot of attention, but it's not for the things that we're asking. It's not for the things that we're demanding. So to push forward the CSME, to push forward integration in a manner that really shows that we're headed towards the future, and big up to Belize and the 3 other countries that decided to
remove the barriers and allow people to live indefinitely. Remove the barriers of
travel and living and working. We need to see more of that. That's what we're asking for. But what we're seeing right now over the course of the last year, and so we're just seeing infighting and a lot of infighting among our leaders. And to what end? And how much does the U.S. influence that?
And that's what I was going to say. I feel very strongly that there's a level of influence from the United States involved here. I mean, we acknowledge that there is a level of impact, or there is impact from the support of the United States. And so when you speak of the presence of the Secretary Marco Rubio being at the CARICOM heads of meeting, that already, when he's not even a part of CARICOM, that already tells you something there about that. And so I feel like it's kind of just the impact of what is taking place in the geopolitical realm right now. And so there's nothing that we can really do about that, but just try to stay with your people and provide the support that's necessary. At the end of the day, CARICOM will remain. And so we have to be there to support each other and focus on what we began with, focus on what's important.
Yeah. So just to say, though, that it seems one, that the reappointed Secretary General, Dr. Carla Barnett, who is also Belizean, big up she, big up we, it seems that she does, in fact, have the support of most regional leaders. We've seen comments, we've seen statements from Dr. Ifran Ali, the president of Guyana. We've seen statements based on the story from Gaston Brown as well, Prime Minister. We've seen, of course, statement from Mia Motley. The Mia Motley one that we aired last night was specifically about accusations being made by Trinidad of state kidnapping, if you would, of a Trinidadian resident. And Mia Motley, Prime Minister Mia Motley, is obviously refuting those claims. And what a reporter was able to gather was that's also a part of the source of the tension, where Trinidad feels as if CARICOM nations didn't step in and support her citizen when she argued and when they argued and felt as if Barbados acted illegally in the detention of a citizen. They call it a kidnapping, right? So that's also
a kidnapping,
right? Yeah, no, we know all too well about that type of thing there, and that type of stories there, the storyline. But yeah, so that's a part of the source of the tension based on what our reporter was able to gather yesterday. So we're watching this closely, and we're waiting to see when that meeting happens and what's the outcome of that meeting. But I don't think that Dr. Carla Barnett will be removed because of the level of support she's getting from leaders across the region.
Well, we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on that. And of course, as updates are provided, we'll be giving you them as well. But speaking of updates, there's also some concerns coming out of the Ministry of Health and Wellness where measles are concerned. And this is in the region over this side, specifically in Central America. Now, we know that measles is one of those diseases that you are heavily requested to get your vaccinations. There are 2 vaccines. I believe it's the MMR, and that provides lifetime protection from measles. However, I believe in just the first quarter of this year, they're seeing alarming rates of measles in Central America. And so it is being advised from the Ministry of Health and Wellness to get your vaccines and to look out for the signs. I believe up to 4 days in advance, you could acquire measles and wouldn't even know, but you can also spread it as well without even seeing the symptoms.
Yeah.
And so this is just something that we know that we'll be talking about more. Usually when we see updates like this, we'll also be having representatives on as well.
What they're saying is that it's a highly contagious and serious viral illness with possible long-term complications, right? They're saying the symptoms typically start from 7 to 21 days. People have died from it through the region, 11 deaths. And they're also saying, they're presenting some alarming figures. The region has already recorded that 75% of the total cases reported in 2025. And they are also projecting or predicting that the outbreak in the Americas is expected to grow, expected to continue to grow in the coming weeks. And my only concern is, Sab, we recently reported that people traveled. People traveled for the Easter holiday. People traveled to Mexico. People traveled increasingly to Guatemala. These are 2 countries cited in this press release. So what does that mean? Were there screenings done for is screening being done? Are they tracking? These are the type of questions we will be asking when we get in front of our representative.
Just a reminder again, even if you don't see the symptoms like rashes, for example, which we've commonly associated it with, a part of the statement mentioned that even 4 days before these rashes appear, you can already start spreading the virus. So please be mindful of that. As Paul said, this is a deadly virus, and you can protect yourselves and others by getting vaccinated at any healthcare facility in the country, especially if you are planning to travel, though. But Paul, we do have to wrap up this portion of the show, and we want to say thank you for everyone who engaged with us. I saw some comments online. We saw Jackie Leon saying big up to the K9 unit too. That's regarding the bust that took place yesterday. We have Esther Courtney saying good morning. We have Wilbert Zelaya, good morning. Thank you, Wilbert, for the early birthday greetings. Sonia Singh, Samson Jacobs, Janelle Truheki, and everyone else tuning in right now, thank you so much for commenting and sharing your thoughts on these topics. We will be taking our first break though, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be joined by NAC talking about their 2026 vision and STI awareness.
Belize wakes up connected to opportunity. And across our country, the work to keep Belize connected continues. SMART continues expanding our network across the country, bringing stronger coverage to more communities. With recent service enhancements in areas at Blue Creek and Progresso, Belize City, Orange Walk, and more on the way. We're bringing education closer to home, empowering entrepreneurs to grow their businesses, supporting industries that drive our economy, and keeping families connected wherever life takes them. With every expansion, we are investing in the infrastructure that moves Belize forward. Because connection isn't just about signal, it's about opportunity, progress, and the future we are building together. SMART, bringing people together.
What happens when you step off the edge?
Too late to back out now. He said I'm ready. No, I'm not.
And land somewhere unexpected. Sometimes it breaks you open. Wild at root,
That is very bitter.
but sweet on the tongue. Where history calls out, and you answer with open arms. This isn't just a journey, it's across borders.
That was amazing! Every idea starts with a curious mind. You're the girls who will build the future.
And that's what Girls in Tech is all about, helping you learn, discover, and see what is possible.
Each of you, if you want, you can be the innovators of the future.
The long-term objectives is to amplify their minds and the opportunities.
With everything going on in a day, it's easy to overlook a renewal date. That's why Home Protector Insurance sends a simple reminder to help keep you on track. Home Protector Insurance, if it's worth something, insure it.
Haven't updated your information recently? Well, kick off the new year as a winner. RF&G Insurance is giving you a free chance to win every month. Entering is easy. Just chat with us on WhatsApp and update your information. That's it. You'll be automatically entered into our monthly raffle for a chance to win awesome prizes. Don't wait. Message us on WhatsApp and update your info today. RF&G Insurance. It pays to get it right.
Welcome back. This is our first conversation, and as we mentioned, We'll be looking at STI awareness and everything surrounding the work of NAC. This morning we are joined by Dr. Joshua Cano. He is the Assistant Deputy Director of TB, HIV and STIs at the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And he's joined by Adriana Alpuche. She is the Programs Manager representing the National AIDS Commission, also known as NAC. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Morning.
Good morning and welcome.
I like the energy that you guys have early in the morning.
I told her we got our coffee. But let's dive into it really quickly. I can see the importance of the collaboration that exists here, the work coming out of NAC, and of course how this ties in with the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Both of your mandates really tie in together very seamlessly. But when we talk STI awareness and even all the others that was mentioned under your role, Mr. Cano, I imagine there's a lot of work on the table. Talk about what that involves and how your roles collide.
Well, STI awareness is a very big, like we know April is the month for STI awareness,
yes.
And it's not brought to the forefront. There's a lot of stigma around it still. And so we think that it's important for us to have this platform for us to be able to share with people what they should look out for, the services the ministry provides, what the NAC's vision is as well when it comes to STIs within the country of Belize.
Yes. Now, when we talk STIs, what are the different STIs that we find most common here in Belize that people are getting?
Well, STI stands for sexually transmitted infections, for those who do not already know, which means that these are infections that are transmitted through sexual contact.
Okay.
So we're not saying sexual intercourse or anything like that, but sexual contact, which is important for us to realize. And the World Health Organization estimated that every day there are about 1 million new cases that are diagnosed with STIs.
1 million?
Yes.
A day?
Yes. Which is alarming, and it's important. Why? Because STIs, if they go untreated, they could cause chronic abdominal pain. They could lead to infertility. They could also lead to cancers. So it's important for us to address this topic as well.
So what are some, to back to Sabrina's question,
oh yeah, the four. Yeah, so the World Health Organization also has stated that there are 4 main STIs that were diagnosed or that continue to cause illnesses globally. And these 4 main STIs include gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis, and trichomoniasis.
Trichomoniasis.
Which is a parasitic infection. The other 3 are bacterial infections.
So perhaps you can, not to belabor the point, but walk us briefly through what each of these infections look like?
Yeah. Okay. First, when we talk about STIs, we need to recognize that they're bacterial. There's also viral, and then there are the parasitic infection, right? So we mentioned the 4 main common types are bacterial. We said gonorrhea, and gonorrhea, that is transmitted through sexual contact.
Yes.
And that would primarily cause burning sensation in urine. It could cause discharge or vaginal discharge, penile discharge, and it could cause like swelling of the testicles as well.
But you mentioned bacteria. Does that mean that is that from like poor hygiene?
No. So remember, STI is sexually transmitted infection.
But you said contact too, though. So how did gonorrhea come about?
Well, contact. Remember the different types of contacts, and it's not only insertive contact that we're talking about.
We could get there. Continue the explanation.
And then there's chlamydia, which is also another bacterial infection that causes similar symptoms. And then we have syphilis, which causes a painless sore or canker sore.
Painless.
Painless. So you see something painless around the genital region, and then that's a primary syphilis. Then it could develop into secondary syphilis if it's not treated, which causes rash across the body, and then it could eventually go into tertiary syphilis that affects the cardiovascular system and the nervous system. And then we can also talk about trichomoniasis, which is transmitted again through penis, vagina most of the times, and it causes similar symptoms, burning sensations. But I think one of the key things for people to understand when it comes to STIs as well is that many times they are asymptomatic, which means that yes, you can develop symptoms, but most times many of them are asymptomatic, which means that the only way for you to know your status is to get tested.
But before we go over to ENDAC, I would like for you to clarify, how do we define sexual contact?
Well, sexual contact is contact during sex. Like I mentioned, it's a wide range of infections, so they don't always have the same mode of transmission. Example, for herpes, that's skin-to-skin contact. That does not necessarily mean insertive oral vaginal. right? So it's a sexual contact, anything that could involve sex around it.
Some type of touching.
Yes.
Well, let's get over to knock. This conversation is getting interesting. As I mentioned earlier, I know that there's great collaboration that comes out of your work and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. How do you guys work together?
Well, what we do is focus mainly on HIV, but we do know there are rises in STIs. So what we do is collaborate with one another to make sure we know what are the signs and symptoms. Keep having these conversations about HIV. We are pushing the HIV self-testing, and one of the, I want to say, not criteria, but one of the reasons why we give persons to screening, because we do see a rise in STIs. So we want to say that risky behaviors are happening, and those are what we collaborate to make sure that we're knowing what is happening. And then there are, the risky behaviors do have identifiers that would lead us to HIV. So STI and HIV goes hand in hand with one another.
What do you think about with the self-testing thing, before we go back to you, Dr. Connell, what do you think about the concern that people will hide their results?
We don't, that's, we've gone over that. We've had very positive responses. Usually when people get any signs of any type of anything, they usually come to us. So it's very open. The young people, they love it. The old people love it as well. It's just a different type of screening. It's just another available services that we provide. So
I think, remember that HIV self-testing is a screening tool. And if you get a reactive test, it does not mean you're positive. You still need to do a follow-up for confirmatory testing to verify that result. Because what that test does, you swab it inside your gum and it looks for antibodies. So your body's response towards the virus. So it's not necessarily the most accurate tool, but it is another additional tool in the toolkit that can offer that service for people who probably do not want to do it in front of a healthcare provider, would like to know their status alone, or for those people who are afraid of needles. And these tests are available at the NAC, Gohoven, BFLA within the country of Belize at this point in time.
Does the Ministry of Health and Wellness collect any type of data where STIs are concerned, like understanding what are the more prominent type of sexually transmitted infections that we see in this country?
Well, yes. So for HIV, that is considered a sexually transmitted infection, but it's not curable. It's treatable and preventable. So we have treatment and we have preventable therapies as well. We do collect. That's one of our primary collection data we collect. We also collect information on syphilis. This was how we were able to be certified for the elimination of mother-to-child transmission within the country of Belize and in the region, one of the only countries.
What's the data looking like for syphilis?
Well, globally, there has been an increase. In Latin America, a 30% increase that was reported by World Health Organization. And Belize is on the similar trend as well. We are seeing increases in cases. The exact number I can't provide you with at this point in time, but we are similarly seeing increasing cases within the country of Belize.
And syphilis is also through sexual contact.
So syphilis can be transmitted through sexual contact and also vertical contact, so mother to child if the mother is untreated. And syphilis can cause congenital defects if not treated on time. So if you contract syphilis during early pregnancy, when you're just in the period of formation, the baby's just in the period of formation, then we can see more severe malformations.
What should people look out for when they do the self-testing in terms of the results, and what does the results mean?
Okay, so the self-testing, if I don't know if you guys have a graphic to show for this, but for the self-testing,
we have something up there that says reactive and non-reactive.
Yes, so a reactive test is what people would call like a positive test, and non-reactive test is what they consider a negative test. Again, remember, this is a screening tool. So for you to actually have a confirmation, you need to go in to get tested, and then we could determine basically if it is a positive or a negative result.
What's the biggest challenge with bringing awareness to people on STI?
Communication.
I think stigma and discrimination is one of the biggest challenges, because stigma and discrimination stops people from accessing testing, from accessing treatment, from notifying their partners. Which is very important. Partner notification is very important. If I have an STI and I do not inform my partner, then my partner continues with that STI, which could potentially lead to complications. And if I am not in a monogamous relationship, then all of my partners then would become infected if I do not inform them. And then those partners potentially could have other partners, which could then potentially then propagate the bacteria or the virus throughout the country. And this is what we're seeing throughout the world, to be honest. And so it's important for people to understand that partner notification is a responsible thing to do. And having a STI diagnosis is more of a medical condition, not really a moral thing, because I could be faithful, but I could be the victim of an STI as well.
Very true.
No, go ahead, sorry.
And most people believe that having an STI is because you did something wrong, but you might not be the party that's out there doing the most, you understand?
The most.
And that leads into my next question. What does the data say about genders and
those who are more
STI,
at risk?
And those who are
well, when we talk about at-risk populations, generally for STIs, we talk about those who are between the age of 15 to 24, those who have multiple sexual partners, those who do not use condoms regularly, those who are not on PrEP, because then that would stop them from getting HIV. Those persons who are not vaccinated against HPV and hepatitis, those who are considered key populations like MSMs, transgender women, or even sex workers. These are people who are considered to be at higher risk of acquiring STIs. And with our data, that is exactly what we're seeing as well.
And STIs don't discriminate.
No.
But are we seeing more males or more females?
Well, you see, the issue with that is in Belize we have men have less health-seeking behavior.
So we see
So we see most of the time more women being diagnosed. Because even though a man might have discharge from his penis, he'll wait it out a couple of weeks.
But does waiting that out have any
yes,
effect?
It can lead to potential infertility issues.
Oh.
It depends on the STIs, to be honest. And then imagine throughout that entire period of time, then all your partners or your one single partner continues to be at risk of being infected or becomes infected.
Ms. Adriana, how do you feel about the discrimination aspect?
Well, we work along with Ministry of Health and NGOs to work on our communication skills. So we've had a lot of communication out there in regards to STI, because it's STI Awareness Month. We've talked about HIV. We've talked about having people just come into the office and have a conversation with us. So for us, the stigma and discrimination is happening specifically with the healthcare providers. So that's why we have an open door for policies to anyone to come in, and then from there we link them to the proper services that they need. So,
well, just to piggyback off of that, we did a study recently which showed that a lot of it is self-stigma. So it's not necessarily healthcare providers that are causing or stigmatizing these patients, because you can go into every clinic throughout the government, within the country of Belize, at government clinics, any clinic, and the study is showing that people basically have this mental barrier, think that, oh, because I'm sick, I feel like you are judging me, which is not necessarily the case.
But I think that's from like past stigmas and you know, the taboo of you don't want to get HIV because it's kind of like a sign off, you're going to die, or any other type of STIs as well. There's this heavy cloud that a person may carry over their head because they don't want people to know that. But I want to go to the month and the type of work or the added awareness that we can potentially expect from both the Ministry of Health and Wellness and NAC. Do you guys have any initiatives planned during this month that we can expect and follow along on?
Well, the Ministry of Health continues to do their HIV testing, and we offer HIV syphilis combo test, which is very important because we're testing for HIV and syphilis with one prick of the finger, with one test. And then we also have hepatitis rapid tests that are also being provided at all government facilities across the country of Belize, free of cost. And like in Belize City, if you're in Belize City, you can actually go to the VCT or into Cleopatra White, ask to see the social worker, and they can provide those tests for you there. You don't have to go through the entire outpatient process. But if that's something you would like, that's also available.
You know what? I want to ask what might be considered a silly question, but I feel like it's an excuse that someone somewhere tuning in might have heard.
Silly questions.
You mentioned sexual contact for STIs, and I'm certain that somewhere there's someone who has the idea that they can sit on a toilet seat and get one of those STIs.
No, there is no data to prove that at this point in time. It's sexual contact, not toilet seat contact. Right, so we have to keep that in mind.
I wanted to just jump back a bit to the stigma aspect, right? Just to ask a bit about how do you recommend people navigate the internal conflict that they have when it comes to the questions in their minds and the stigma that they feel is being perpetuated against them?
Well, we recognize that has some mental health component to it, and it's something cultural as well. And it comes to each and every individual for us to realize that, hey, it could be me. So the whole judging part needs to be stopped now, and continued education within the school systems, which is very important. Like I mentioned, the data is showing 15 to 24 years old, and where do people 15 to 18 spend most of their times? Within the schools. So we need to strengthen that area as well, and at home have these conversations and not be as taboo as it used to be. There is treatment, and for those that are not curable, there is treatment. Like for HIV, there is treatment, and you can live a long, healthy life like we've seen before. And I always tell people, if you test negative for HIV, you're still HIV possible, which means it's still possible you're getting HIV if you continue risky behaviors. So the advice then is to use condoms to be on PrEP, and that then decreases your risk of acquiring any of those. With HPV, what the vaccine does, and it's offered by the Ministry of Health, HPV, human papilloma virus, what the vaccine does is prevents you from having the HPV serotypes that causes cancers.
Cervical
and we know
cancer.
that is one of the leading causes of cervical cancers. And we have a very robust system in Belize, led by the Ministry of Health, that provides that and hepatitis vaccines free of cost.
Now, what is NAC doing this month? Do you guys have any activities
go to
planned?
every activity that is out there. So any outreach activity that is happening, we have a booth to give out information and link people to the services. We do provide the self-testing gigs, but again, it's based on the risky behavior that you're engaging in, because a lot of people is saying, hey, I want to take a random HIV test, which is good, but we want to know what are the exact risky behaviors, which Dr. Connell already mentioned, not using condoms, multiple partners, and we refer over to other services like PrEP if you're HIV negative.
And so people have to divulge that information to
well,
get
it's not mandatory, but it's something that we would like. If we're collecting data, it would be something nice to know what's happening. Again, if, like she's saying, these HIV self-testing kits, we're using them primarily for men and their sexual partners, or those people who do not necessarily routinely access service. But there's a good thing to access services within the government facilities and within facilities countrywide, because if you go countrywide, you can get HIV, syphilis, blood sugar, liver function, all of these tests can be done with one blood test. So the HIV testing, I mean, that would be good. But remember that going into your healthcare facilities to get your routine testing and screening is also very important as well.
How do you guys navigate that as like healthcare or like health service providers, even NAC included, but providing that consultation with persons who might be trying to figure out if they might have an STI, and they come from certain communities that already makes them feel a little bit disenfranchised, whether they're from the same-sex community or they're disabled. How do you go about, or religious, how do you go about interacting with persons like that?
I think there's nothing wrong with being religious. We have to remember that the only true way of not getting an STI, to be honest, is abstinence. So it is abstinence. However, for most people, we recognize that that might be a challenge. And so we're trying to provide risk reduction techniques. Here would be condoms and PrEP. And how do we go about navigating that? Well, we have to remind the public that our services are all confidential. So if you call the NAC, that information is confidential. If you go into a government facility, it is confidential. And it is something that we take very seriously within the healthcare facility, especially the Ministry of Health. Keeping confidentiality for all of our patients' information is very important to us.
Leaving this conversation, people are watching, how can they reach out to get more guidance and perhaps to seek services?
They could come to the National AIDS Commission office, which is located in Belize City, and then from there we could navigate you to exactly which providers you would want to access service. Because sometimes we do have clients that just come in and want to talk and want to just know the information. So they could come to our office at any time, and then we have a number that is available. I want to say 24/7, but if anytime anyone wants to have any kind of conversation, any kind of questions, 610 5051.
Go ahead now.
Again, you said 24 hours, which is important. I want to reiterate that PrEP is available throughout the country of Belize, but there's also PEP, which is post-exposure prophylaxis. So if you had intercourse within the last 72 hours, or the condom broke, or you didn't wear a condom, or you're not sure, then please access services at all healthcare facilities throughout the country of Belize. The emergency services should be able to provide you with PEP, post-exposure prophylaxis, which is a tablet you take every day for 28 days. However, it needs to be taken within 72 hours to decrease your risk of getting STIs. And we could also give prophylactic treatment to decrease the risk as well for getting chlamydia, syphilis, gonorrhea.
How effective are we seeing that?
Oh, very effective. Very effective. I mean, this is also the medication we provide in the healthcare setting. So if there is a needle puncture for one of our staff or anything like that, we immediately, what you do is we provide a test initially to verify the person's status. And once that is available, of course, it does not deter us from giving it if the test is not available. But we provide a test, and then we give the treatment for 28 days, and then we retest after that 28 days, and then we continue retesting just to verify. But it's very effective. This is international standards.
All right. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation. We definitely learned some stuff. But thank you guys so much for joining us, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. Our next conversation is all about making a splash with YWCA Swimming Clinic.
GBM is turning the spotlight home. All Belizean, all day, every day. We're bringing to you more local and regional programs than ever before. Relive the classics you love. Plus, enjoy brand new stories that celebrates who we are, our people, our pride, our Belize. So whether you're at home, in the office, or on the go, keep GBM on, because now more than ever, Belize is on TV.
When the job calls, you need a truck that works as hard as you do. Strong, reliable, and built for the load. The Jack Freight Truck gets the job done. From the lumberyard to the work site, power your business with confidence. I can count on Jack to get the job done right.
It's a matchup fever this week in the NEBL as we hit the halfway point. Friday night, the powerful Dan Grigor Dream Ballers hit the city for a showdown versus the Red Hot Belize City Defenders at the Belize Civic Center. Game starts at 9 p.m. Halftime entertainment by Vida Max.
I want peace. I want problems!
Then on Saturday night, the number 2 team, the Hungry Tiger Sharks, await the undefeated Bad Boys, the Orange Walk Running Rebels at the Belize Civic Center in a battle for first place. And in Cayo, the Cayo Western Ballers look to put a beat down on the winless Corzal Spartans. 8 p.m. at the Victor Galvez Stadium. Entertainment by the General himself, Super G, the NEBL Girls, and hosted by DJ Dollar. Giveaways at all games and the halftime $5,000 National Sports Council Shooting Challenge. So come out and support your NEBL team for this mega matchup fever weekend. Sponsored by the Government of Belize.
Every idea starts with a curious mind. You're the girls who will build the future.
And that's what Girls in Tech is all about, helping you learn, discover, and see what is possible.
Each of you, if you want, you can be the innovators of the future.
The long-term objectives is to amplify their minds and the opportunities.
Hi, I'm Ava.
And I'm Aiden. We're your AI guides to all things NHI.
In this video, we will guide you on how to become an NHI member. You, and if you have a child, must have a Social Security card. To get an SSB card is easy. Visit socialsecurity.org.bz/card-replacement to view the required documents that are needed.
There is a fee of only $5 Belize dollars for a first-time issue and $26 Belize dollars for a replacement card. Newborns can use their mother's SSB card for up to 2 months.
With your SSB card, you and all family members can register at any NHI contracted clinic of your choice.
You and members of your family can now access health care when needed.
Please note that once you are registered with a clinic, you must go to that same clinic when you need medical care. Look out for more NHI guides like this.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned with us. This is our second conversation for this morning, and it's all about the Belize Aquatics Federation and a YWCA swimming clinic. And we have joining us on set competitive swimmer Davia Richardson. We also have on the couch the president of the Belize Aquatics Federation, none other than Mr. Giovanni Alamia. And last but certainly not least, Davia's sports psychologist. This is a topic or a representative that we don't often have, sports psychology. And so it's a pleasure to have Dr. Zach Honaki on set this morning.
Good morning and welcome.
Morning. Thank you for having us.
Good to have you guys here. I know I was just mentioning earlier in the morning show that we had Davia on with us earlier this year, but virtually, and so it's really exciting to have you here in person with us.
I'm excited to be here.
Mr. Alamia, we've had you on the couch with us several times before speaking about your work and your involvement in sports in Belize. But indeed, as Paul mentioned, we've never actually talked about sports psychology, so I'm interested in diving into that.
Looking forward to it.
Before we get to Davia and her presence being here, perhaps we can begin with setting the backdrop to the Aquatic Federation, the Belize Aquatic Federation, the work that's being done with that federation, and how we got Davia here in Belize. You know, this is a big deal.
Yeah, so it was probably a little over 4 years ago I was approached by Mr. Hugh Stain, right, that he had a family friend that lives in New York that the daughter swam. So we contacted, we spoke with Davia's mom back and forth for a while until, start getting everything in place, getting recognized by World Aquatics, Pan Am Aquatics, finding executive members that were willing to put in the time, wrote the Constitution, so everything I was kind of doing in the background, just trying to set it up in place. And one of the things that I kind of insisted on and they agreed with was getting the YWCA, the YMCA, and the Belize Coast Guard as members of the executive, but they would just be able to send a representative. So you don't have to have someone elected from those bodies, right? Because it only makes sense. Every summer, Belizeans know both the Ys have their summer swim camps, and hundreds of kids participate. The Coast Guard, they basically live in the water.
Yeah.
Right? So it kind of makes sense there, right? So then, it was slowly started building up. It took a while to get Davia recognized as a Belizean, so she had to get her passport. Then with World Aquatics, getting her transferred and recognized as a Belizean competitor. So she's been to 3 world championships so far in Qatar, Singapore, and Hungary, right? So and I think, I have on the shirt, this was the first one in 2024.
Doha.
Right? So it's been a long process, and we kind of have to take it slow because you just don't want to jump in, start things, and then it's not sustainable, right? Unfortunately, a lot of it is leaning on these young shoulders, right, in representing the country and making a name for us there.
Yeah.
Right? Locally, it's kind of hard because of the access to the pool. And that's where the Y comes into play. You know,
I think that's why we also don't really have much representation for like swimming competitions like that
right.
from Belize too.
Yeah, yeah. You know, so we have, again, with the Y, Diane has been very open to letting us get access to the pool. We have Andrew, he has the lifeguard company where he does training as well. You know, he's organizing little competitions. I think in 2 weeks' time they have a competition in Cayo. You know, so it's slow, right? And again, because we're around water, we have to be very careful.
Yeah.
You know, the schools, if I'm not mistaken, the Ministry of Education has a policy in place where you can't take field trips around any water anymore. So we have to be careful with that as well, right? And you know, I mean, I might sound like a broken record, but it has to be a slow process, making sure we have the lifeguards in place. They have to be properly trained, CPR, everything they have to be aware of, and they have to be mature enough to understand. You know, you can't be on your phone like this when you're supposed to be watching kids in the water, right? Yeah. You know, and again, Andrew has been doing a great job with that in setting everything up in place in that aspect of it. Now it's to get the schools and the parents involved and bringing in their athletes, their potential athletes, into the federation, so then we could start having more competitions. You know, I believe it was last week they had the Carifta Championships, you know, and in swimming. Davia went there last year to compete, right? But because of schedule with school, I think she made it to the finals in 3 events, but she had to leave. Without competing in the finals, she had to leave it because she has to go back to school, right? So it's kind of hard, right? In that sense. And Davia, you know, she's a honor roll student, and she has a swim scholarship to Loyola, Maryland. So we have to prioritize academics before sport. I mean, we all hope that, you know, sports first, but in reality, what happens when she retires or any athlete retires? They have to have something to fall back on. And he's the prime example, right? Zach is a prime example as a former swimmer. Well,
he still
swims,
yeah,
right? But as a former competitive swimmer, you know, he has now his sports psychology background to fall back on, where now swimming is to stay healthy and stay in touch with being an athlete.
Yeah, I want to bring Davia into the conversation. What we're looking at there is
a race?
No, well, yeah, somewhat. I don't think Davia was set to race, but the little guy was like, yeah, well, I have my opportunity now. Let me race her.
Let me see if I can make it.
But Davia, what was the feeling like for you yesterday being with the kids?
It was a lot of fun. I'd actually been to the pool the last time I was here, and seeing all the kids swim. Last time I was here, there was nobody there. I actually had like a small practice session with me and my mom, but seeing all the kids swim, and a lot of them were really excited to see me, and a lot of them just really like being in the water, which is the most important thing. Swimming is one of the only life-saving sports, and even if you're not technically trained like I am, it's really important to be familiar with the water, knowing like the basics. That can just really save your life, and you can have fun while doing that.
Yeah. You were 17 years old, and I mean, there's a world of opportunities available to you if you just stay consistent and disciplined. Coming back to Belize, are there specific things that you would like to do in terms of giving back? I know you mentioned being at the Y yesterday, but is this something that you would like to continuously do coming back to Belize?
Yeah, this is definitely something I'd love to do yearly, or even more than that. It's hard with my schedule, yes, and I will be starting college, but I know that once I go to college, my mom will have more free time to even come here and help run the federation if I'm not able to be here. And my mom is really big on sports, and she wasn't a swimmer, but she does swim, and she likes doing it, and she likes getting kids involved in sports and just getting like the competitive edge. So I would definitely like to come back more often and do these swim clinics more, and just bring swimming into a bigger light.
Now, I just want to ask, a swim clinic, what does that involve? Are you teaching swimming? Are you talking to kids who enjoy it and kind of seeing what their impression of it is and what their dreams are?
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of everything. The kids that I visited yesterday, they know how to swim, and I met some of the younger ones, like under 10 years old, and they enjoy swimming. So it can be more like technique-based, learning like some of the basic techniques in swimming, more than just like how to float, how to do freestyle, you know, like getting into it, like kicking your feet, putting your head down in the water and stuff like that. It can also help with goal setting, like small goals that can lead to bigger goals, and having a sports psychologist here is really helpful to know where you want to set your goals and how to take the steps to get there.
Where did you get the inspiration to begin swimming competitively?
Yeah, when I was younger, I had like day camp that my mom sent me to, and we swam twice a day, and a lot of the counselors and the directors would tell my mom that I never wanted to get out the water. I didn't know how to swim yet, but I was always like treading water, and they recommended my mom put me on the summer team that summer. So I started swimming that summer, and then they told my mom that she's doing great, she should be on the club team that's all year round, and that's what started my journey of competitive swimming at the age of around 6.
6?
Yeah.
What's the most challenging part of being a competitive swimmer?
Definitely staying consistent. You know, you always want to perform at your best and do better than you did the last time, but that's not always the case. You know, there's always a lot of factors that feed into why you might not swim your best or just perform your best overall. So staying consistent can be pretty hard, but when you know that you're training to the best of your ability every day and you remember what you've learned in training, that calms my nerves when I step on the block every time, and just remembering what I've learned and what my coaches has taught me.
Now, you mentioned having a sports psychologist and how important that has been for your journey. Let's get the sports psychologist that came with you in the conversation.
Dr. Zach.
Dr. Zach Honaki. I'm so curious about the work that you do and the importance of having a sports psychologist in this day and age.
Yeah, I think that it's still an emerging field, and you're not wrong to allude to the fact that a lot of athletes are only just starting to begin to recognize the value of it. But a lot of what I'm trying to do is keep things simple, but educate athletes on what's happening to their body before they perform, because whether you're an athlete or you're in entertainment, you know that you get very nervous before you step into new situations, and a lot of people have never been taught why that's happening, and they begin to believe that, well, if I feel really nervous, I can't perform. And if you provide athletes with tools to manage their stress and with information about the fact that this is actually a normal physiological response and it's here to help you, then you may actually be able to, not just in the present moment, perform the way that you want to, but also be prepared for unexpected future situations because you have those tools.
What are some common reactions that you'd find athletes have that your work is important to provide support?
Yeah, so some of the responses that I see a lot of are around the stress response to start with. Some athletes, they get really physically nervous. They feel pain in their stomach, they feel sick to their stomach, they sweat, they shake, and they feel like they aren't in control. Things are moving really quickly around them. It's not dissimilar from when you are doing public speaking. And so the type of work that I do is sort of multifaceted. One part of it is if you are somebody whose stress response is a little bit higher, and everyone's is a little bit different, we're not all the same, then are there things that you can do to regulate your body's stress response? And there are, whether that's grounding techniques, breathing techniques, even just framing your stress response. And that's where we started a lot of the work that we did initially. And the second part is, how do I talk to myself so that even though I am nervous, I'm able to still focus on the things that I can control. I think, the way that she articulated everything just a moment ago is a great example of a 17-year-old coming on a show and being able to so eloquently speak to her experience. Is she nervous? Probably, but she knows what to focus on, and she's able to stick to what she is capable of, and that's ultimately what I'm trying to help athletes with.
What do you tell an athlete that loses his or her temper on the field or on the court and in a competition?
Yeah, so a lot of the work that I do, I focus on how your response affects your actions and your performance. And so a lot of times people will speak to those types of events and say, well, that's bad. You shouldn't compare yourself to people. You shouldn't have an emotional blow up. And I don't look at those emotional responses as being quote unquote bad or trying to judge those things, but rather to look at them through the prism of, is it hurting or helping your performance? And so instead of getting mad at yourself for having a blow up because you got frustrated, give yourself an opportunity to process those emotions, but then ask yourself, is that response helping me achieve my goals? And if the answer is no, then can we in the future plan for a different response to that type of situation? So that way we're doing everything that we can, again, controlling what we can control to give ourselves the best chance to be successful.
And how have you seen this approach transform athletes?
Oh, it's been amazing. Obviously, I'm extremely grateful and excited about the opportunity to work with her. And she's been doing, I think, phenomenal things in the sport, both in the United States and internationally. I have a lot of really amazing stories as well from athletes back home. One that it really resonates with me, I worked with a 10-year-old athlete in California who, and that's very young to be doing sports psychology work, but she was really struggling with extreme physiological responses to stress, throwing up before her competitions, feeling like I don't want to compete, which is the last thing you want when you have a 10-year-old athlete. You just want her to have fun and enjoy the sport. And we did a lot of the things that I talked about, and it was a progressive process. And the way that she deals with stress now physically is amazing. She's rarely throwing up before races. She's performing really well. She's a state record holder in running. And B, just hearing her talk about anxiety is, for me, probably the thing that I'm most proud of, because she talks about it like it's, yes, I get nervous before I perform, but it's okay. I'm going to be fine because I have control over what I do, and I know that I can control my body. And even if she stopped swimming today and she stopped running today, that's such a powerful thing to have for your life. So for me, that's really the meaningful nature of the work.
And I like that you said that, because I also want to know how much of the challenges and the transformation that you've seen translates from competition to real life, or from real life to competition.
Yeah, no, it's all the same stuff, right? We get nervous because we're in a new situation and our body is telling us this is important and you should be alert, and we need you to have performance enhancing benefits too, like adrenaline. And so that's going to keep happening forever. Even if you feel like you've conquered the stress response and you're really good under pressure, you're going to find yourself in a new situation. When you're going on a date, you're going on a TV show, you're giving a presentation, you're doing a sport. And so the skill sets translate well beyond sports. They're for any situation in your life where you notice you feel uncomfortable or different than you want to feel, and you're able to A, regulate how you feel, and B, tell yourself, this is okay, I'm going to be okay as long as I focus on the things that I know how to do, like she was talking about just a moment ago.
I mean, interacting with persons like yourself who have professions like this, I think it's so refreshing, because it shows us what we need to work towards here in Belize as well. Mr. Alami, I know you mentioned this is a very slow pace that we are at when it comes to building this federation, but what are some of the things that you would like to see immediately come to fruition to advance aquatic sports here in Belize, and perhaps even bring in other young people who might be interested in swimming?
Yeah, so one of the things that we feel that this is the first step, first major step, bringing Davia back, because she's been here before, but more to deal with immigration, to deal with other things, so now it's concentrating on exposing her and the locals that are interested in getting to swim to meet her, right? And we found it fitting that we invite Zach as well as the sports psychologist. Right, and Davia's coach also came, John Yearwood, he came as well. So Davia will be in the pool with John, and Zach we've organized through the invitation of the other national federations. So I reached out to them and I told them, if you have any athletes that you think should attend this workshop, it's available. Just come to the Belize Olympic Committee building. We'll have Zach will be there for 2 days, and we'll be able to meet, right? Yesterday, Kaya Katu stopped by the pool, and nice. we were speaking with her, and she mentioned that, I believe it was 2016. She mentioned that she started using a sports psychologist, and that's when she really her competition level really stepped up.
Oh, really?
Right? So I mean, these are things that, I mean, 10 years ago, right? So she saw the benefit, and like I told them yesterday, is that I would want Kaya to attend so she could show that and explain all of that to the athletes that participate in the workshop, you know, because then, your reaction just now, you didn't know she was doing it, so you don't realize people are already utilizing that.
I feel like psychology and even mental health has only just recently become kind of like this buzzword. And so to think a decade ago there were athletes here in Belize taking advantage of that, that's really, really great news.
I think about the conversations we had surrounding our junior national basketball team that competed in some South America recently, and one of the challenges they raised was that when it came down to the wire, it is as if the pressure of the competition, they folded under it due to certain mental constraints and self-doubt,
and even like expectations,
and expectations on them, right? And so I think sports psychology, based on what you explained, could help us navigate a lot of that. Not only senior athletes but young athletes, like you said. I think it's even better if you do it and you engage athletes from their young.
Yeah. So one of the things, I mean, you've probably caught it in a lot of movies, right? Is that you will see basketball players or baseball players, they talk about, okay, bottom of the ninth, 3 outs, you know, 2 outs, 2 strikes, you know, and they're envisioning themselves hitting a home run or hitting a base hit. Or basketball, you know, the down by 1 and 1 second left on a shot clock and they hit the 3-pointer, you know. So those are things that have been in movies for decades, right? And that's what the professional athletes do. They visualize putting themselves in that position, right? And that's what makes them different, right? And that's what a lot of athletes need to understand, that yes, it's a team sport, you know, or it might be an individual sport, but you need to visualize what will happen.
Yeah,
right?
so
you need to get yourself to that point.
David, we've continuously mentioned that you have enjoyed a great deal of accomplishments as a young athlete. What does success mean to you?
Success means a lot, you know. Sometimes I don't even sit and realize and sit back like everything that I've accomplished in my life, and I'm so young that there's so much more left for me. You know, college swimming is approaching for me, and swimming internationally is also starting to get big for me as well. And you know, it makes me really grateful to have this opportunity to represent the country and also even swim in the United States. I'll be repping my college soon, you know, and club swimming I've been swimming club for like 12 years, and that's just mean a lot to me. And knowing what I'm doing here in this country is inspiring younger kids to just get in the water and swim. It can benefit this country and just kids in general for years to come.
How would you describe your Belizean roots or ties?
So my father and my father's side of the family is 100% Belizean. I have family out here. I'm hoping to visit them soon. And my father did pass away in 2021, and he's buried here with his grandmother, so we're hoping to go visit him as well sometime. And I'm around my dad's side of the family a lot, so I do experience the Belizean family a lot more, which makes me really grateful that I'm around them so much and I get to represent their country as well.
What do you think about the Belizean side of the family?
You know, I mean, as a Caribbean country, you know, we're very hectic, but in a good way, you know. Like, we can all be loud and laugh and maybe argue, but you know, at the end of the day, we're still family no matter what disagreements we might have or what arguments. Like, we're always gonna have fun at the end of the day. You know, the music is like one of my favorite parts about being in the Caribbean. Yeah, and like the the temperature, you know, it's really cold back home,
Likes the
but
warmth.
I love the summer, you know, summertime's my favorite, and I just love being in the humidity also as well.
Yeah, it pairs well with water.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a workshop that's set to take place, an opportunity for young and even older athletes to interact with Dr. Zach as well. Can we talk about the dates for that and how people can get involved?
So the swimming clinic starts today. Well, yesterday in a little impromptu and unscheduled event happened with the participants from the hub. So we do the swimming clinic today. We'll have 2 sessions from 10 to 12 and from 1 to 3 at the YWCA pool. And then Zach will be at the Olympic Committee building in the Marion Jones compound from 10 to, well, we're trying to say about an hour and a half, but depending on participation, and we don't really want to cut anyone off, say, oh no, it's 12 o'clock, we need to go.
Yeah.
Right? So if we need to extend it past lunch, then maybe we'll do that, right? And that'll be for 2 days,
All
2
right.
days straight, and then Davia and the team head back to the U.S. on Saturday.
Saturday. When do you begin college?
I start college in August, September, so
August.
but I still have to go back to school to finish my senior year.
Okay, what's your plans for college?
So I plan on attending University of Loyola, Maryland, and I will be swimming for the next 4 years, and I'm intended for computer science.
Oh, computer science.
What are your thoughts and plans for a possible Olympic debut?
That's really, like, when I think about that, you know, it gets me excited. I've been watching the Olympics for a very long time, and when I watched the Rio Olympics, that's what really opened my eyes to swimming, and swimming in college, and representing a country one day and getting to that stage. And even, like, thinking about that or visualizing what that might look like, it makes me really proud to know that I'd be the first to represent Belize in swimming. And I'd probably be maybe one of the youngest athletes to go and represent Belize as a whole. So that's something that I really look forward to doing and working hard to get to that place.
And you will.
That for you.
Thank you.
I love that. Very good response.
All right, well, we do have to close off this conversation. Thank you guys so much for joining us, Davia. It's a pleasure having you here in person. We hope that you have a wonderful time here in Belize, interacting with the kids and those athletes as well. We wish you guys all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you
again for having us.
Yes.
No problem.
All right, we take another quick break, but don't go anywhere. Our next conversation is celebrating music and milestone with Hamalali, Wanigu.
Smart for everybody. Smart leading everything. Smart give you everything. Smart offer everything. Smart give you everything. North to the east and the south and the west. Smart are the best. Darling, double up my data and give me all the text. In fact, give me a plan for my family. Unlimited calls, so me like it. And Smart make everybody feel happy. Bringing people together, me want it now. Smart got love for everybody. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. More bundles, data plan. Me want my smartphone, internet in my hand. Cause me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Smart. Stay connected. Stay happy.
We at Full Tech Systems understand that technology isn't just a tool, it's a game changer. At home, smart devices and AI are revolutionizing daily life. In education, tech is making learning more interactive and accessible for students and educators alike. For businesses and government, it's driving innovation, streamlining operations, and unlocking growth, leveraging tech for better services, infrastructure, and security. At Full-Tech Systems, we help you thrive with cutting-edge solutions, partnering with leaders like Dell, HP, Microsoft, APC, Fortinet, Cisco, and Tomier. We deliver the right products for your needs, whether it's boosting efficiency, improving customer engagement, or scaling operations. Connect with us and let's drive innovation together. Full-Tech Systems, your technology center, where you come for the price, but stay for the service.
Every idea starts with a curious mind. You're the girls who will build the future.
And that's what Girls in Tech is all about, helping you learn, discover, and see what is possible.
Each of you, if you want, you can be the innovators of the future.
The long-term objectives is to amplify their minds and the opportunities.
Belize wakes up connected to opportunity. And across our country, the work to keep Belize connected continues. SMART continues expanding our network across the country, bringing stronger coverage to more communities. With recent service enhancements in areas at Blue Creek and Progresso, Belize City, Orange Walk, and more on the way. We're bringing education closer to home, empowering entrepreneurs to grow their businesses, supporting industries that drive our economy, and keeping families connected wherever life takes them. With every expansion, we are investing in the infrastructure that moves Belize forward. Because connection isn't just about signal, it's about opportunity, progress, and the future we are building together. SMART, bringing people together.
Electricity is essential for everyday life, but behind every outlet, a lot is happening to bring you safe, reliable, and sustainable energy. Let's start at the beginning. Independent power producers across Belize generate electricity using a mix of renewable and non-renewable resources. Electricity travels across a network of high-voltage transmission lines capable of transmitting electricity across long distances. Electricity then reaches your nearest substation, where it is adjusted to a lower voltage, making it safe to travel on the distribution lines you see in your community. From there, electricity makes its final journey from the distribution lines to your home, providing you with safe and reliable power when you need it. Belize Electricity Limited. We continue to serve you.
Welcome back, guys. This is our final conversation, but certainly not least. We are celebrating music and milestones with Hamalali, Wanigu. I hope I said it correctly. If not, we'll work on it throughout the course of this conversation. We are joined by Darius Avila. He's the president of the Battle of the Drums Secretariat. And he's joined by Kyle Zuniga, member and technical advisor of Battle of the Drums Secretariat. Guys, thanks so much for joining us and welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Happy Thursday.
Welcoming us.
Now, I feel like at the end of this segment, me and Paul, we have a hand on like pronouncing some of these words as well. So I'm looking forward to that. But gentlemen, we're here to talk about, one, the work that you guys do in your Secretariat, Battle of the Drums, but also some music update as well. Give us an idea of what is being done through the Battle of the Drums Secretariat and how that ties in with the Hamalali Wanigu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So the Battle of the Drums is a Garifuna cultural retrieval and preservation initiative
Last year, we celebrated a milestone year, 20 years.
Oh, cool. Congrats. 2 decades.
2 decades.
You were right there with that celebration.
Yeah.
You were there, exactly. So this initiative is undertaken under 3 main strategic objectives, namely Garifuna language retrieval, Garifuna drum and singing dance retrieval, and Garifuna community support. So this project that we'll be talking about shortly is tied to our second strategic objective, which is the Garifuna drum and singing dance strategic objective.
Yes.
So you may know that, and yes, we were here the first year, 2017, we started the Garifuna Song Competition. This is an initiative to promote and encourage artists to bring out quality Garifuna songs. So the lyrics have to be solid. Typically, a solid Garifuna song tells a story. It brings out emotions. It sometimes gives advice. So there is where we want to go back. Recall that in 2008, and the Palacio and the Garifuna Collective won several awards.
Yeah.
And so we said at the Battle of the Drums, and the Palacio came out of these communities, we have people within these same communities that can take us back.
Yeah.
So this initiative, the Garifuna Song Competition, is to push our artists to think big, to be a little bit more deep in their lyrics and thought process to their lyrics, so that at the end of the day, we will derive quality songs.
Yeah.
What does Hamalali Wanigu means, and how does it tie into the initiative then?
Okay, good. So since 2017, we have been having every year, except for the COVID years, the Garifuna Song Competition. And we now have over 50 original Garifuna songs in our library.
Nice.
So in the competition, the awards are given to Song of the Year, Multi-Genre Song of the Year, Single Genre Song of the Year, and Budding Artists Awards. These are what we give every year. Now we want to provide a bigger benefit to our artists. And that is how we came about with this album, that we picked out 9 songs to produce a first album. So this is volume 1. So Hamalali Wanigu means voices of our people. And we thought that's a fitting name because, of course, singing is their voice. And because we have so many songs and we will be bringing out different albums over the next few years, we thought that that's a fitting name for the series of albums that we'll be bringing out.
Let's bring Kyle into the conversation. Tell us a bit about your perspective on this initiative.
So I have been a music fan for as long as I can remember. I tried being an artist at one point, but we all know how that story goes in Belize. But we wanted to create something that will be reflective of our culture, right? And give us really put our imprint into the music world. Belize's music identity is very tied to the Garifuna music, and so we wanted to create something that would definitely blend and be unique. And so my perspective on this is that we finally were able to put music together and bridge the gap that was absent, right? We wanted to reach people in their phones, mobilely, and so when I told Mr. Avila that I think that we should really get onto streaming, this was what birthed the idea, and he, of course, did his thing, and he brought this idea to life, basically.
How does these songs resonate with you?
Well, as a young Garifuna person who struggles to talk the language myself, I love these songs. They help me to teach and learn the language. Well, not teach, they teach me, and they help me to learn and understand the language better. Going through and having to work with the lyrics and match the lyrics to the words, I've picked up quite a lot just over the course of working on this album. Yes.
Yeah, you know, yesterday we had Asiatic on the show with us, a well-known Garifuna artist as well, talking about one of his latest songs that he released, even tied with a music video. And it's exciting when you see Belizean artists with legacies as long as his, and of course now having this follow-up conversation with you guys, trying to birth new artists as well, but doing it in a way that will be long lasting and that will actually be impactful, as you spoke about writing with depth. How difficult is that in this day and age where a lot of people, and I'm not sure that we have Garifuna artists writing for TikTok, but a lot of mainstream artists, they're writing to go viral. They're writing to have some type of punchy line that could be used for a dance, and then you move on and you find something else. People aren't really writing for depth anymore.
Absolutely. And that is why we are working on this initiative. We want to push our artists. Think deeper, dive deeper. It's there. But just, you know, be focused and see how you could bring it to light. One of the main benefits of this is that we'll be streaming this album on over 20 streaming platforms.
Oh, nice.
And so that will bring about three main benefits for our artists. One, it will introduce them formally to the music industry.
Yes.
Two, it will protect their original work. Rights protection, that's very important because a lot of artists put out music, but it's not protected, so they don't benefit. And three, this will help to monetize.
So royalties.
Royalties will come into place. So significant benefits for our artists.
How similar question, Mr. Kyle, how does these songs resonate with you?
Oh, these songs, man, they resonate deep. We were not disappointed by this competition because, again, the artists recognize what we are seeking to accomplish, right? And we have had many songs, some which did not win awards, but are also very deep. So I think that the artists connect with what we are seeking to accomplish. And at the end of the day, the lyrics really bring out some very good thought processes and depth. So we're very happy.
Now we have songs as far back as 2017 and as recent as 2024. As Mr. Avila mentioned, some of them being Song of the Year award and some just notable mentions that were, you know, so good that they made it to the album.
Yes.
We were trying to pronounce some of the words earlier, but can you perhaps walk us through the name of some of the songs and some of the persons and the artists who were involved with it?
Absolutely. So the first song, 2017 Single Genre Award, Niawana by Desiree Diego. 2018 Song of the Year Award, Lobo Gubalisi by Elroy Martinez.
Could you tell us some of the meaning of the names?
Yes. So Niawana, Desiree is talking to her people, right? So he says, my people, you know, I want you to recall that we have a history and that we have a story and that we should not take our existence here on this earth lightly. And so, you know, a general thought process behind that.
What would be the English name of the Niawana?
Niawana would be like my people.
Okay, my people.
Right. That's the context within which she's using the word.
Niawana.
Right.
So is that to say, before you continue, that there'll be an English
translation? Yes.
And translation?
Correct.
Oh, nice.
So we have the Garifuna.
That's what you worked on.
Right. Yeah. And the English translations.
Okay, cool.
On the album as well.
Laubogu.
Lobogu. Belize. Yeah, so Elroy is talking about Belize is a country that has given us a safe space as Garinago. You may know that we are an exiled people, right? Our homeland is St. Vincent, exiled from there in 1797. Ended up in Roatan, eventually in Belize. And so he is reminding the people that whereas we suffered during that journey, Belize has given us a safe space. So he wants to be here forever, and he wants to die here. That's a general thought process. 2018 Artist Song of the Year Award and Budding Artist Award. So she received 2 awards.
Oh, nice.
And this is a very young artist, actually, Kenima Martinez from Hopkins. Again, Uremu Garifuna.
Uremu
Garifuna.
What's
it means
Uremu?
Garifuna song.
Garifuna song.
And she said that in her song that this song, Garifuna song has helped us to endure all the hardships that our ancestors have seen and experienced from exile to now. And her thinking is that one reason we were able to survive was because we brought along our songs. So when it was very, very in our lowest points, we sung to bring about a relief to that suffering.
Yeah. You know, Mr. Avila, I just want to say, whenever it's like the 19th time, or if we have conversations like this, I always feel so jealous. Like, I wish I could, like, you know, claim part of this, sir. You know?
Where Belizeans you can.
Yeah, all right. I was that practice the language. All right. Now we're moving things along. We have Abba
Meme
Mutu.
Right. Again, that's the 2022 Song of the Year award.
And we see Mr. Elstar Martinez emerging again as a winner. He was in 2018 and then in 2022 Song of the Year awardee. What does that title mean?
Abba Meme Mutu. It means one people.
Okay.
So in other words, he is saying that notwithstanding our geographic locations, we are one people. So whether you're in Honduras, whether you're in Belize, whether you're in Guatemala, whether you're in the US, as Garifuna, we are one people.
Yeah.
So let's not create any divisions and think that, well, I Guatemalan side, I don't know, I different than the Belizean Garifuna, you know? So that's the general thought process behind that song.
We have Panta Wamalau.
Right.
You
see, you're getting there.
Big up me. All right. Now we have, and that was from Chantal Williams.
Right.
And Reckless Flores. We're familiar with Mr. Reckless. That was 2022 as well. Budding Artist of the Year. What does that mean?
Budding Artist. So that was more to recognize Chantal, another young Garifuna artist. I think when she brought out this song, she was like about 16, 17 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the title of the song? Panta Wamulau?
Panta Wamalau. Right? That means let's be proud of it.
Oh,
right.
Nice.
So she is urging, and she's speaking to women here in her song, right? That particularly women, we recognize in our Garifuna culture that women are a significant driving force in keeping the culture alive.
We're really getting depth here.
Yes. She also calls a bunch of names within the song itself.
Right.
Notable Garifuna women.
So she has she identified these women and said they have done it, so we also do our part.
Well, this is the next one coming up is probably one of the more famous Garifuna words that I am familiar with. Namule.
Yes.
But actually, I don't know what that means. What Namule means?
My younger brother.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So in Garifuna, my younger brother would be Namule. My older brother would be Nati.
What does Namu mean? I hear a lot of people say
I know,
Namu.
right? And a lot of people like to use it out of context, actually. Typically, so, you know, we have our masculine and feminine expressions, right? Namu would be like girl, right? And typically, it will be a female who would say Namu. But I see men and males also using
Just
it.
nicely seasoning to the sentence expression.
Right.
So Namu means girl.
Right.
Okay, and it would use
friend, right? But typically it would be a feminine expression as opposed to a masculine expression.
Meaning a female would say Namu.
Right.
Okay,
right.
you can't say it Namu. I'm sorry, Paul. Okay, and that was Sheldon Petillo.
Right. He is a notable artist from Sweet Pain Band.
I'm familiar with him.
Yeah.
Yes. Now 2023, Lidan Aban.
Lida Aban. Lida Aban.
Is the N silent?
Right. Like it's like a little nasal.
Lida
Aban.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, by Ethan Mariano.
Right.
What does that title mean?
Together as one.
Oh.
Yeah. Again, you know, he's reminding our people, let's not create divisions. Let's, you know, work together as a people so that we could see our advancement.
Now the most recent one, which was 2024 Song of the Year Award. You said that, Pam. I can hear you say that confidently right now.
Libagari Garifuna.
Right. Right. You're almost there. Libagari Garifuna.
Libagari Garifuna by Henry Miguel. What does that title mean?
Meaning Garifuna life.
Garifuna
so
life.
Again, he is encouraging our people to not, you know, while we exist in a multicultural society, let's still keep our Garifuna-ness and promote it.
And lastly, for honorable mention, let me hear you go with that, Paul.
Nidisian Barigian.
All right, you almost there, Paul.
They're just trying to be polite.
Nidisian Barigian.
Oh yes, because the N is kind of silent.
Yeah. So I almost got it.
You really did.
I'm realizing they're emphasizing the consonants.
Yeah.
Right? That's a different conversation.
Barikian. By Desiree Diego.
Right.
What's
so
the
again,
title?
Desiree Diego is a prominent Garifuna artist. She sings with the Garifuna Collective. This is giving her a serious opportunity that she has never gotten before.
Okay.
Right? She has several songs, but none of them are live streamed on any streaming platform.
Oh.
So Nedisi and Barige, she is singing about herself actually. So this song is where she wrote this song when she was in a hospital in Guatemala, and she was experiencing a medical condition that she could not deal with here in Belize. And so she had to travel to Guatemala in search of medicine. And that is what this is all about. So she's saying, I had to go far. Nedisi and Barige, I had to go far in search of medical intervention for my medical condition. And she further says that while she thought that a lot of people loved her and would look out for her, no one visited her when she was in that hospital, undergoing this stressful medical condition.
Yeah, so it's a story.
Very
It's a story, yeah.
So I really like that we went through the songs.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it provides a greater perspective for our audience to understand what the volume of work that is being presented here. So when can we expect to gain access to this work?
Right. So we are here again to talk about the album launch. So this will be launched on next Friday, April the 17th.
Nice.
At the Bliss Institute for the Performing Arts. Doors are open at 6. We start it'll be in a concert style.
Yes.
7 p.m. And so the concert will comprise of 3 segments. The first segment is where we will launch the songs, right? So each artist will come on stage and sing their song, backed up by Sweet Pain Band.
Oh.
And after singing their song, they'll be given an award to recognize this achievement.
Yeah.
And then we recognize that while the music industry, the Garifuna music industry, the Belizean music industry has been in existence for many years, we also want to recognize 5 artists who have been there for 40 or more years. So we'll be awarding these artists, and they will also be performing some of their songs at the concert. These artists are namely Pen Cayetano, Adrian the Doc Martinez, Mohabor Flores, Peter Poots Flores, Chico Ramos.
Wow.
Yeah. So these artists are those on whom shoulders we are standing as we continue to push the Garifuna music. And then finally, we'll give posthumous awards as well.
Right.
Recognizing and the Palacio, very huge. Aurelio Martinez and Paul Nabor.
Yeah.
We will, Noane Martinez will present their songs during the concert. And we'll also give their beneficiaries an award in our recognition of what they have done for us.
That sounds like a beautiful event.
Yeah.
It will be a wonderful event.
I hope I can make it.
Please make it.
What's the price, the cost to get
$20 only. And like I said, it'll be like from 7 to 10 p.m. at the Bliss on April 17th, next Friday.
Wonderful.
Any final thoughts? Anything you want to share that we may have looked over?
I think we have covered everything, but I want to give big thank you to these artists.
Yes.
Right? Because I think that they have stepped up to the plate, and they have won our wonder, and we are helping them to take it to another level. And that's what the Battle of the Drums does, right? We want to continue to not only promote our culture, but to look at ways as to how we can make it beneficial as we can to our Garifuna people. I also want to thank members of our Battle of the Drums Secretariat. While I and Kyle are here talking about this, we have over 20 people in the background working with us to make sure that we have existed for 20 years. And we continue into our next 20, maybe times 20.
Excellent. Well, Mr. Kyle, So Darius, it's been a pleasure this morning, and we want to thank you both so much for joining us. And I'm personally excited to listen to this volume of work. And I'm subscribed to a couple of the platforms. So I'm looking forward to tapping as soon as it becomes available.
I think during our next visit, when we do volume 2, we'll quiz on volume. We'll quiz on volume 1. We'll do a little karaoke.
Yes. All right. So with that, we're gonna take a final break, and when we come back, we're gonna wrap this Thursday morning's show up. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Haven't updated your information recently? Well, kick off the new year as a winner. RF&G Insurance is giving you a free chance to win every month. Entering is easy. Just chat with us on WhatsApp and update your information. That's it. You'll be automatically entered into our monthly raffle for a chance to win awesome prizes. Don't wait. Message us on WhatsApp and update your info today. RF&G Insurance. It pays to get it right.
GBM is turning the spotlight home. All Belizean, all day, every day. We're bringing to you more local and regional programs than ever before. Relive the classics you love. Plus, enjoy brand new stories that celebrates who we are, our people, our pride, our Belize. So whether you're at home, in the office, or on the go, keep GBM on, because now more than ever, Belize is on TV.
When the job calls, you need a truck that works as hard as you do. Strong, reliable, and built for the load. The Jack Freight Truck gets the job done. From the lumberyard to the worksite, power your business with confidence. I can count on Jack to get the job done right.
It's a matchup fever this week in the NEBL as we hit the halfway point. Friday night, the powerful Dangriga Dream Ballers hit the city for a showdown versus the Red Hot Belize City Defenders at the Belize Civic Center. Game starts at 9 p.m. Halftime entertainment by Vita Max.
I want peace. I want problems!
Then on Saturday night, the number 2 team, the Hungry Tiger Sharks, await the undefeated Bad Boys, the Orange Walk Running Rebels at the Belize Civic Center in a battle for first place. And in Cayo, the Cayo Western Ballers look to put a beat down on the winless Corzal Spartans. 8 p.m. at the Victor Galvez Stadium. Entertainment by the General himself, Super G, the NEBL Girls, and hosted by DJ Dollar. Giveaways at all games and the halftime $5,000 National Sports Council Shooting Challenge. So come out and support your NEBL team for this mega matchup fever weekend. Sponsored by the Government of Belize.
Welcome back. We are wrapping up this Thursday morning edition of Open Your Eyes, and we have to say a huge thank you to everyone who joined us this morning. Also, you guys for locking in, talking with us in the comment section on TikTok as well, and really engaging with us this morning. It is April 9th, and I have a couple birthday shout-outs to give out. Okay. Absolutely. Now, this is for the special April-born people. Right? I heard only the best people are born in April, Paul.
No, that's not true.
So, birthday shout-out this morning goes to Delverine Tillett Jordan from your brother George and the rest of the family.
Ooh,
Happy birthday.
Birthday to ya.
Day to ya. Birthday to ya. Special birthday shout out to you, Miss Delverine. I hope you have a fantastic day. But I also have a very special birthday shout out going to Maggie. And now Maggie is one of my very good friends as well, and I believe she's like a sister to our producer as well. So this birthday shout out, I imagine, is not only from her family, but very special greetings coming from Vianney Reyes. She loves you very much, Maggie. I met you through Vianney, and so I also want to give you a very special birthday shout out. I hope you have a wonderful day today as well. And anyone else celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you. If you'd like to give a birthday shout out, or if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at oye@greaterbelize.com.
You could also catch us live on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BC, and Instagram for all the behind the scene contents at OYE Belize, and then TikTok. We're on TikTok live every morning at 6:20. We're always live for the most part, and that's openyoureyes.bz. Follow us on TikTok, man.
Talk
Go ahead.
to us. And you can even talk to us via phone because we have a phone number. That's 675-2555. But please do us a favor and join us again tomorrow for What the Friday, when you open your eyes.
Start your morning right.
Until then, be sure to keep your eyes, your mind,
and your heart wide open.
Have a wonderful Thursday, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.